Okay, Adam Trigger here. It is Wednesday, and it's time for more Major League Baseball free picks. 1-1 on the free plays yesterday. Reds plus 1.5 got there. Twins fell short. So we're going to try for a 2-0 sweep today. And we're going to start things off in Cleveland. Rockies, Guardians. And the first thing that I'm going to bring up that I've really kind of talked about the entire series as we break this game, we've broken this game down on total bases all week so far, is the Rockies and the Guardians are not that far apart in terms of caliber of team on the field right now. And I think that's created a sort of a big disparity in where my numbers are on the Rockies in this year or on this series and where the books have this price. So I still think the books have to price in sort of like the full season, and they have to take into consideration the full body of work, which, you know, the Guardians for a stretch were much better than they are now. And the Rockies were much worse. And now I think these two teams, I think you have the Guardians trending toward the bottom of the league. They're out of it, in my opinion. They're not going to win the Central. They're not going to factor into the wild card race. And they're, you know, that's off the field issues aside. They have the off the field stuff with Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase, but that's just sort of fuel onto the fight. That's insult to injury right there. Even with those two, this Guardians team is not a great baseball team. And I think they're going to sort of continue to just play their way out of any sort of contention as the season wears on. Now, we know the Rockies are not going to be in contention for anything, but they've known that since April. They've known that since May. Right now, that's not what they're playing for. They have a interim manager. He's 40 years old, young. He's got a lot of energy, and I think the ball club is starting to like want to play for him a little bit. So Warren Schaefer has been the manager. I think he took over. Well, he took over since I think he's probably been the quote unquote manager since about June. But the Rockies have really had a chance to regroup at the All-Star break. Since coming out of the All-Star break, straight up, they're 6-5. They've been an underdog every single game. So if you've bet the Rockies to this point on a daily basis, every single game since they came out of the All-Star break, you're up considerably because they've been an underdog in every game. And some of those games, they were $2 dogs. So the Rockies have been very profitable since the All-Star break. And I think there's still value on this. There's value on this team pretty much every day. The question we have to answer is this a good spot? Is there value here? Does it make sense? And I think the answer to all of those things is yes. So for the Guardians, it's Colby Allard. It's essentially a bullpen game. It's not the worst thing in the world for the Guardians, but I mean, the Guardians bullpen is nothing special, especially the fact that, you know, they're not as deep as they were last year. So I don't know that a mix of Allard and then like some of the other guys that they probably intend to use here are necessarily better than what the Rockies are going to have in Kyle Freeland and then some of their better bullpen arms. Now, Kyle Freeland at this point, certainly not a great big league starter, but he is a veteran. You know, he is capable of going out and, you know, throwing 5-6 innings, not getting completely killed. He doesn't walk anyone. He's got decent breaking stuff. He's just a veteran guy that's been in the league for a long time. And I think, you know, he's at least somewhat trustworthy where you can send him out there and he's probably going to give you 5 innings, maybe 6, maybe give up 2 or 3 runs. I think on a good day, 2 or 3 runs. And I think I don't have any confidence in the Guardians just like blasting him or anyone here. So I don't think I don't think it's a stretch to think that Freeland could get the Rockies to the later stages of this game with a chance to win. And then the Rockies, you know, one thing they do have down there is some pretty like interesting bullpen arms. The bullpen as a whole is not great, but there's 3-4 guys that have been very good and that have had, you know, quietly had really good seasons out of that Rockies bullpen. You never would know because they're always sort of behind the games. They don't win much, but they do have some respectable arms. So in this case, you're going to give me all of that. You're going to give me plus 1.5 on the Rockies on the road, which means they get the extra at bat and only at about $1.30 minus 135. It's pretty good. Like that's something that, you know, had this been 20 cents cheaper, like if it was 20 cents cheaper, I'm probably adding this to my client card because I really do feel strongly about these two teams not being that different, despite the odds makers sort of treating the Guardians as like a team that's still in the mix somewhat, and the Rockies is the worst team in the league. So you've got that going for you. You have, I mean, Freeland, in my opinion, is the is the better starter. I don't know what they're going to do with Allard. My co-host Brian Leonard doesn't seem to think they're going to have him go very deep, and he's a diehard Guardians fan, so I certainly trust his assessment there. But they have started Allard at times at AAA, so I don't know what they're going to do in that regard, but I do know that whatever the Guardians do with their pitching is not going to be better than the Rockies. It might be close, might be even, but I don't think it's going to be better. So with that being said, I do think there is value on Rockies plus 1.5, and that's going to be my free pick here. Rockies plus 1.5, minus 135. We'll call it minus 135. Nice KBO winner for me this morning. Kiwoom Heroes. It was my $5 play. It got there, 4% winner. That's what I've got to promote here today. I'm going to have another KBO play up. It'll go in the morning, and I believe the site is letting me do 50% off. So if you're looking for a 4% play, that's half of what, half the cost of basically every other 4% play on the site today. That's going to be on my page, KBO. It will go on Thursday morning. I might throw some baseball up. I might throw some Major League Baseball up as well. Just haven't done so yet. Let's talk about another game I've got my eye on for tonight. Let's go out west. It's Rangers Angels, and the Rangers, they're coming. Like this is what I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. I feel like I sort of jumped off the Rangers bandwagon that I was on, and in the respect that I've really felt like that they were always going to play better than they had through the first couple months of the season. I haven't really bet against them, but I've jumped off in the respect that like I haven't been riding them sort of on this current streak. But they were, I think they had won like 8 of 9 or something. They've lost the last 2 nights, but still the Rangers over the last 3 weeks or so have played themselves right back into the mix, 56 and 52. They are just a game back of the Mariners for that final wild card spot right now. And actually they're a game back of really everyone, because that's how close those top 4 teams are in the wild card race right now. Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners, Rangers are all essentially separated by 2 games. So the Rangers, I think, are very much in the mix. And, the Angels are as well. But when I look at these 2 teams, the Rangers look like a legitimate playoff team to me with the pitching that they have, all of the collection of bullpen arms that they have. Like, this is the team that I expect to be in the playoffs. The Angels, I think, have been well overachieved to this point. I think it's commendable that they're in this position to even still be in the mix of being competitive, playing competitive games going into August. But when I look at this Angels roster, I don't see a team that's even close to a playoff team. And I think that will play out over the course of the next few weeks. As far as this matchup's concerned, I mean, if I'm looking at just straight up starting pitching, it's not even close here. Nathan Eovaldi is the far better option. All of, if you look at the StatCast page, it's all red. Pitching run value is up in the 99th percentile. Stuff when he's on, his stuff is as good as anyone in the league. And there's really not anything there's no area that I think he's even really struggled in this year. His whip is under 1 as a starter. That's crazy. He's got 5 pitches. He commands all of them, all over the strike zone, rarely walks guys. He's everything you could ask for in a starting pitcher. So he's not a guy I have any interest in playing against. However, Jose Soriano is a guy I will play against. I'm okay playing against him. He has some redeeming qualities for sure. Throws 97, 98, gets a lot of ground balls. He keeps his team in games. Like, he's definitely a legitimate, he's probably their best starter. And he's a guy that, I'm not dying to fade him per se, but I'm also, it's not close here, in my opinion, who the better starting pitcher is, Eovaldi or Soriano. It's Eovaldi by a wide margin. So the Rangers, as I've said, they're coming around a little bit offensively, and really it's just a collection of the pieces the Rangers have at this point. Great starting pitching. The bullpen has been outstanding, even though the bullpen has not. They don't have like that big time closer, those big time high leverage arms down there. The collection of arms in that bullpen is one of the best in the league, one of the deepest in the league. And you can go right down to AAA at Round Rock. They're sitting on like 3 more bullpen arms that are very good. So the Rangers bullpen is outstanding. It's just they lack the sort of guy that they can really trust to come in and slam the door in the 9th inning. But if you're just talking, what they've got behind their starters, it's very good. It's top 5 in the league. So when I look at this, look at the fact that the Rangers have lost the last couple days. The only way I could play this game right here is Rangers minus 120. It's about minus 120 at this point. I don't know if that'll make my client card, but it's certainly, I think, a good bet. And it's one I will have my eye on throughout the day. All right, so there's two games that are both on my short list is about 4 games long right now for stuff I would actually bet in Major League Baseball today. And I just talked about 2 of them. Rockies plus 1.5, Rangers on the money line. So 2 free picks for you right there. Hope you I know a lot of you joined me for the $5 Tuesday promo yesterday. We hit with Kiwoom Heroes this morning in KBO. If you're interested in another 4% KBO play, I've got one headed to my page probably by the time you see this video, and that will be 50% off. So check that out. All of my plays, wt.buzz/AT, and we will see you guys. Total bases, 9 a.m. We are doing the full show. So there's only 3 games on the board tomorrow, but we're doing the full show. We will break down all 3 Thursday games in detail. So no free pick video tomorrow. We're doing all 3 Thursday games in detail on Total Bases right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, 9 a.m. Eastern. Good luck with all your picks today, everyone. We'll see you guys in the morning.